Welcome to the Inner Worlds DVD. I am Andrew Garley, and in this instructional DVD today we're going to cover many things, including psychic development, working with spirit, working with energies and changing your altered states of mind. There's going to be a practical theory part to start with to assist you in further developing these abilities and skills. Traditionally, methods of development are in a closed circle within a spiritual church. Often these are very difficult to get into, and if you don't have the right training teacher there are many aspects of practical theory that are missed and you're left merely to meditate. So what we need to do is cover the basics and the grounding and a lot more understanding of what the development process involves and how to deal with many things that are involved in communicating with spirit, including your guides. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by working from the beginning. In this section we're going to cover the pre-construction of the human body. I'm not going to go into too many details over this because it's quite a complex and detailed subject. But if we start with the soul, which most people are aware or have heard of, the soul body is like a computer hard drive where all experiences through life are stored. To take human form, the soul body then produces a mental body, which exists on the mental planes, and then we have an emotional body. And through each stage, everything develops down. So we have the mental body, and then we form the emotional body, and then a third one, which is the etheric body, and the etheric body is the vital component. Now, the human body actually grows around this etheric template, and all the aspects and everything that's connected from the soul is within this component. And eventually the body forms, and this is one of the reasons I'm explaining this, is because we use these subtle bodies to communicate with spirit. It's who we are, and we integrate with these bodies on different levels. In each incarnation we only have a small percentage of the soul body that comes into our being. This also gives us our traits, dislikes and likes and many other aspects that we are as a person and personality. The etheric body has three main states. The first one I've just covered is the etheric template. The etheric body forms, and around this forms the physical body. So in the early development stages of a baby, the etheric body is streets ahead of the physical growth of the fetus, and the physical body forms around and grows around the etheric template. It is like a blueprint for our construction. Now, one of the other major things with the etheric body, it is sometimes called the energy body, the vitality body. It's a body that's also the interface between our spirit bodies. It's like a computer interface between what we are and how we're constructed. So all the feelings and subtleties that we feel from our mental body, emotional bodies, psychic impressions, all come through the etheric body. Now, as my hand is there's an exact duplicate of my hand, which is the etheric body. It's exactly the same size, and this interface also animates the body. So if your etheric body is not within the physical body, you can't move it, and we get paralysis. This is also how the anesthetic works. It pushes the etheric body out and we lose consciousness. The etheric body has 72,000 energy meridian points around the body, and it is also the interface with the chakra system. So the energy body is actually vital to our being. Now, the etheric is only very slightly out of a line with the physical. It's not something you can see or touch even, because it's a very subtle and fine matter, but it's very close to the physical world. Within the many planes of our system, we have 7 planes and 7 subplanes. On plane 1, we have the lower ones, which is the physical, which we know. Then we have gas, we have liquid, And on the 4th subplane up is the etheric plane. Now, this was also theorized and discussed by Einstein, I believe, in 1902. And there's been lots of experiments to prove the validity of the etheric body. But those of you that have meditated and understand awareness of your own subtle bodies, sometimes you find when you meditate you will feel a separation of this etheric body, and it will rotate round, and you can effectively feel 2 pairs of hands at the same time. It's quite an odd feeling, but it's something that seems to be quite natural when you experience it. We're now going to discuss the chakras. Now, you could write an entire book on the chakras. They're very complex and very detailed, so I'm going to cover the basics of them. Now, there's those people who don't know what chakras are, and there are people that do. But if I outline the basic chakras we have in our body, there are 7 main chakras. There are many minor chakras and smaller chakras as well. But if we start on the top of the head, we have one on the crown of the head, on the forehead, on the throat, on the heart center, the solar plexus, the spleen, and the base of the spine. These are our main chakra centers, and these are energy vortexes, and often where these lines within our bodies, which are called nadis, where they cross, they form these chakra systems. Now, often in spiritual teachings and books, they're described as flowers. Now, the reason they look like flowers is because the electrons, they whiz around in a pattern, forming which look like petals. So, for example, you have 16 on the throat, and they're termed 1,000 petals on the crown of the head. Now, the crown is the most important and highly spiritual chakra. Relatively speaking, from the base chakra up through the other chakras, they resonate on a different frequency. So the lower chakra tends to be more earth, more practical, down to earth. And as we move up through the chakra systems, they are more spiritually developed. Most people will feel their solar plexus chakra, which they feel as butterflies. They might feel sick or nerves, or when they're upset. And certainly when you feel emotionally upset and charged, there's a real lump in your throat. And this is when that energy within that chakra becomes so strong, you physically feel it within your body. Now, there are those people who are already meditating and developing will feel pressure on their forehead, which is often where the third eye is formed, but this is formed from the top 3 chakras. It's worth pointing out also that we have another minor, but it is an important chakra. It's termed the Jaw Chakra. Now, this is in line with the jaw and the back of the neck. This chakra is the distribution of the energies around the system, so it is like a controlling system. Now, depending on how well developed the chakras are, depending on how sensitive you are, often the case is with people that are born naturally psychic. During past incarnations and lifetimes, they may have studied, developed, meditated, and like flowers, these chakras have developed and opened from little buds into full spread. Now, typically for the average person, there's only 5 chakras which are active, and usually the base chakra is always open. And in spiritual unfoldment, it is a question of shifting the energies from these lower chakras into higher chakras, so that your focus becomes more of a finer spiritual nature. The chakras are absolutely vital, and you often may hear of things like there's blocks and things, and these are energy blocks, and often they're caused by emotional issues, worries, or other things. And another important thing with chakras, especially around the spleen chakra, during the day it's like a battery. It stores this pranic energy. It pulls it in and stores this vast reservoir. Because our body's so busy during the day, it doesn't have time or the means to actually distribute this energy, which is one of the main reasons why we actually need to sleep. When the mind is still and we're at rest, this chakra then freely distributes this energy through the body, which then goes into the cells and recharges and fires up the engines within inside. I think everybody can understand that when you have a good night's rest and sleep, you feel recharged, or if you're unwell, that the pain is taken away. And it's a very magical time, this sleep time, but it's all to do with the energy. And often there's a saying that every hour before midnight is a good time to actually sleep, is because a lot of the pranic energy comes from the sun as a main source. And you can actually see a lot of this energy if you could look at a sky. What you're actually seeing though is vitality globules, where there's an abundance of this energy and it comes bright and darts in and out. If you want to try this at home, what you want to do is just softly stare at the sky, don't look at anything particular, and just watch the little darting lights. Now these are vitality globules, usually there's a construction within those, which I won't cover at the moment, and these will then come into our bodies. And the easiest way to breathe in energy is through the breath. Now these vitality globules come in, and the pranic energy is attached to the oxygen molecule, and this distributes through the body once it's detached. Now if you study into esoteric science, you will also notice that athletes perform great feats, and like a 100-meter sprint, they don't actually breathe very much. So the argument that oxygen is the fuel and the energy isn't so. There is another energy within the body that is called upon and used in these processes. The chakras are a very magical and very mystical, very deep-seated subject, and there could be a whole book and even a whole DVD on the chakras. And one of the things that we can do is work on the energies and viewing these chakra centers and how they work, which we will cover later. I'm now going to cover the subject of the aura. Now the aura is an absolutely wonderful thing. It is something that we can feel, we can sense, and it has many purposes. Now what is the aura? Now we have all these subtle bodies. We have 5 bodies in total. We have the physical, we have the etheric, the emotional body, we have the mental body, and the main soul body. Now one thing that I struggled with for a long time that was hard in a lot of studies was saying that everything is within, it's not without. Now often when we meditate and we aspire or we think upwards, we always think up or some location else, but the truth of the matter is that it's all within. Everything is contained within. So it's like going in to the central core of the sun, and there's quite a good apt description to say that, because the true light that we are is like a miniature sun. It's very bright. And if you were to look at the physical body, you could almost say it was like the outer crust on like the earth. So each energy radiates a small percentage of itself. So your aura isn't just the emanations from your physical body. You have an aura from your etheric body, your emotional body, and your mental body, as well as the soul body. Now, the important thing is, because energy is thought, everything is energy, it's also a fantastic way of sensing. Now, everybody knows and must experience this. You walk into a room or somebody comes close to you, you feel uncomfortable or you feel welcoming. And this is the energies that you will pick up from their aura. Everything's contained within the aura. It's quite a record you can actually read from, because in somebody's aura you have the emotional body aura, so you can feel if they're feeling sad or happy, or whether there's an anger issue or other things. If you're sensitive enough and your aura is sensitive, as soon as you walk into these, they're like boundaries. As soon as you walk in and they start blending with energies, and it works pretty much like a tuning fork. There's a resonance, there's a frequency there. So if someone was sad, you could say, your energy starts resonating, and that will then trigger within you memories of your own sadness, so you feel somebody's sadness. Now obviously with the mental body, this is more of thought than of emotion, like the emotional body. But it's also you can perceive from somebody how they are, whether they're open-minded or whether they're sensitive. everything you can read about them, including all the thoughts, what's happened to them. So from a psychic point of view, and this is an area that you would use psychic abilities, is to sense somebody's energies, and this is working psychically. You can sense that what's happened in the past, and you can give a very accurate and very interesting reading just from their aura and energies. One of the other exciting aspects, of course, about the aura is it's scientifically proven to exist. We have the Russian curling and aura photography, which proves that everything has this vital force, this electric fluid that is around the body. Now often there's, as a master would be, you would feel their energy a lot sooner than you would a normal person. A good experiment to try at home or with friends or in a circle is two people, if they were to stand opposite each other, put their hands in front of them and slowly walk towards the other person. You will reach a boundary point and you will feel, it feels a little bit like a balloon or a sponge, and you can feel that springiness. Now there is with all energy, there is an interblending of energies, but ultimately this bubble never really truly blends with the other bubble. It always pushes away or connects, but there is, if we went onto a micro level, there's always an interchange of energies. So we all know when we feel comfortable with somebody or an awareness of something isn't right, and this is with the auric energies, and they are purely a percentage of the energy of the subtle body. So if we have the emotional body, we would say that, say 10, 15, 20% is the aura expansion of it. And of course, from a sensitive point of view, trying to feel energies, the higher we go up, the subtler they are. And it's much like a piano, on the notes on a piano. If you were to say that we are on the middle C, you would have to maybe go an octave up to feel like the emotional body, and another octave up for the mental body, and maybe 4 octaves up to feel the soul body. So again, this depends entirely on your own sensitivity and how developed and evolved you are. But the aura is a wonderful thing because you can really feel it. You can feel that energy radiating. And it isn't just humans, animals have it, and of course it's proved with science of plants and things. And it is a subject I would definitely recommend reading up on.